Hello, hope you're enjoying our summer, and I would like to ask you all a question. Have you ever held yourself back a little bit? Have you ever thought, oh, I'm not volunteering to run in that race, I'll never be the fastest, or I'm not being the scribe or the spokesperson in a group because there must be somebody better or more confident than I am? If you ever have held yourself back like that, then you are not alone. I have felt that too many times, that I might not be good enough. But in the book of John that we've been looking at, John tells us lots of stories about his friend Jesus. And one of his stories help us to understand that Jesus sees things a little bit differently. So I want to tell you that story and see if it changes our perspective a little bit. So we're going to look in chapter 6 of the book of John. Now the story begins with a big crowd because Jesus had been performing miracles like the ones that we've already heard about on our videos, and he'd been teaching people and they were amazed by him. And John tells us that there were about 5,000 men plus their wives and their children, so literally thousands of people. I'm guessing Jesus' tummy rumbled and he said to Philip, his friend, how are we going to feed everybody? Now, I think Philip might have been a bit of a mathematician like me, and he started to panic. He's totting it up and calculating, and he says, if a man worked for 8 months and saved every penny he earned, he would only have enough money to buy a mouthful of bread for each of the people here. There's too many. But thankfully the story doesn't end there, because a little boy stepped up and he offered to share with Jesus what he had. Now what he had wasn't very much. In fact, it was his lunchbox, and in there were 2 small fish and 5 little bread rolls. And just so you know, that might not be somebody's favourite packed lunch now, but it was a pretty decent lunch back then. And Jesus thanked the boy, and then he said a prayer and thanked God for the food, and he began to break it into pieces. Now as he broke the food, he gave it out, and his disciples helped, and the food was given out all over the place until everybody had eaten. And not just had a bite, but had eaten so much that they said they were full. So then Jesus sent John and the rest of the disciples out again to collect leftovers, and they filled 12 baskets with leftover food. Now there is absolutely no doubt that is a miracle. One little boy's packed lunch does not feed thousands of people. It's a miracle. But I think there's something more to that story that John wanted us to learn about Jesus. You see, if Jesus could do that miracle and use that tiny packed lunch and share it with all of those people, if Jesus could do that, he probably could have gone lunch, and that would have worked too. But instead, Jesus used this boy. Now, there's nothing special about him. He's not fancy or rich, and he's certainly not worked for 8 months and saved every penny he has so that he could buy lunch for everybody. He just shared what he had. He was willing. And that is why Jesus used him. And it teaches us that that is how God works. He wants to use us. He wants to involve us in his works even now. And all we have to do is be willing to offer what we have. We're not asked to be the best. Just be willing to share, whether that is our lunch or our time, our home, our toys, whatever we have. And whoever we are, just be willing to share it with God and offer it to him. And if we do that, we get the privilege of being part of God's big plan on this earth. I think that's worth praying about for all of us. Dear God, thank you that you care about each one of us, and that just as we are, we can be a help to others. Please help us to look out for ways that we can be kind, helpful, and loving to the people around us. Amen.